people who have a product, especially when it comes to my product is an article of clothing or styling accessory, is wear your product. Like, it's just like anything else, man. Like, there's no way that I'm gonna be walking around town wearing someone else's brand of bow ties. Like, what sense would that make? Like, that wouldn't make any sense at all. And the reason for that is because I have that much confidence in my product that I know that it's going to strike a conversation.
Buy Black Podcast, episode 30, How to Market Yourself and Open Doors with Oliver Michael Fitzpatrick. Welcome to Buy Black, the only podcast dedicated to helping you find, connect with, and support Black-owned businesses. We're on a mission to bring consumers and business owners together to ignite the global Black economy. I'm your host, Gerald Jones, and if you're a Black business owner or a socially conscious consumer, you've joined the right community. Ready? Let's get to work. Hey guys, welcome back and thanks for joining me for another great episode of Buy Black. Today we're going to be connecting with Oliver Michael Fitzpatrick. He is a gentleman I've known for quite a while in my life. Another person from Little Rock, Arkansas, graduated from Little Rock Central High School. He's going to be talking to us today about building relationships and marketing yourself. And this man is a genius in that regard. Before we jump into the interview today, I want to go ahead and knock out our housekeeping issues. The first thing I want to do is give a shout out to the latest reviews that we have. We have another new review for the Apple app. This one comes from MJDL Santos, and we know exactly who that is. That is Mike De Los Santos of Mike D's Barbecue. Dropped us the 5-star review here. It says, great content, well worth your time. This is a great app. Not only is the content great, but it is also easy to use, and the access to Gerald makes this stand out. Now, as I stated, the content is great. It doesn't matter if it is a solo episode or if there is a guest. Every episode is worth a listen. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for giving me that feedback on the show. And also specifically to you, thanks for always being that voice out there who's going to reach out, give me some feedback, and jump into the Buy Black Podcast community on Facebook and spark up a conversation about the show or anything that's just going out there in your business world, in your business life. It's folks like you who continue to make this community grow and make this show better with the feedback that you give. So thanks so much for being out there. We also got one more review over on the Android app. Now this one is a 4-star review, and I got to be honest, I was a little bit, I was wavering back and forth on this one on how I felt about it, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out here. This one is from Bomani Arasto, and it says, I was listening to your podcast and was frustrated that you didn't mention the name of the app. I had to search other episodes to get the name. Mention the name and I will give it a 5. Great work. Keep it up. Bomani, thank you for that feedback. I got to be honest, I was a little frustrated when I first read it, but then I went back and I looked, and in the episodes, I know at least for the last 5 episodes, I've been putting a link in there for people to be able to go straight from the show notes and download the app, so you wouldn't have to go search for it or you wouldn't need the name. But then it occurred to me that not every podcast player gives you active links inside of your inside the show notes. So if I don't make it clear that this is a HTTPS, go to here in order to download the show, if I just try to embed that link in regular text, you may not be able to use it and it looks like it's not there. So point taken, feedback taken. Thank you very much. For everybody listening, what I'm going to be doing from now on in every episode in the show notes, I'm going to leave you a link that is https://buyblackpodcast.com/app. All right, that's /app. Whether you can download that link directly or whether you can activate that link directly from your show notes, or whether you would have to just copy it from the show notes and put it into your browser, that's the easiest way to find and download the app, because the app has different names in the Android store versus the Apple store, just because of the limitations that Apple has on characters and things like that. So that's the easiest way to do it. If you just go to buyblackpodcast.com/app, when you click on that, it opens up a page and it's got two buttons, one for Apple, one for Android. You can click it and it takes you to directly download my app so you don't ever have to search through the App Store again. And I will make sure from now on that I don't hide that link behind text in the show notes. If you're listening to the episode on any player, just go to the show notes in the episode. If you can activate the link right there, just click on it and you can download the app. Or if you don't have active links inside of your show notes, just go ahead and copy and paste that line into your browser. It'll take you straight to where you can download the app, so you don't have to go and fight that process anymore. And that's the kind of feedback that I need in order to make this better for you guys. So, Bomani, I really appreciate you taking the time to give me that feedback. Let me know that it wasn't working for you, because if it wasn't working for you, then there's probably a whole bunch of other people who it wasn't working for as well. So thank you very much. Let's see, what do we want to hit again before we go into this episode? Some recent activities that I want to share with you guys. The first thing, I recently did a feature on Mocha Minutes podcast. I may have told you guys about this before, but Mocha Minutes podcast is one of those shows that I feel like you want to reach out and check out. It's hosted by Stephanie Williams, and she does a great job of covering everything from entertainment to current events to politics. And she does it seamlessly throughout a show. You barely can even tell that you're moving from one type of subject to another. It's just really great to listen to. It's very entertaining, and it's really informative. It's a fun show, so check that out. There's been a couple of episodes that I've been featured on there, but the entire show is phenomenal, so I would check that out if I were you. Additionally, today, we just released an episode of the Minding Your Business podcast. This is a podcast hosted by Ron Brooks. And he was gracious enough to feature me on episode 37 of his show. And we talked about Black Panther today. We mainly talked about it from a business perspective and from a cultural perspective. It was a little bit different angle from what I've heard on different review shows. And I thought it was great. I had a great time having that conversation. So if you haven't heard of or checked out the Minding Your Business podcast with Ron Brooks, you definitely want to check his show out too, especially if you're an entrepreneur. He talks about entrepreneurship, he talks about leadership, he talks about real estate, and he does it all from a very practical perspective as somebody who's got over 15 years in the business of entrepreneurship. And then a couple of other things that'll be coming up soon. I've got a feature that's going to be coming out on a show called Ash Said It Daily. That should be releasing here this coming week. And when that does release, I'll go ahead and I will put a feature up on the website for that show. And then also here within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be releasing an episode on the Riot Starter Chat. And this is hosted by Dr. Tanya Lowe. She featured me on episode 125 of her show. That should be coming out here within the next week or two. And I'm telling you, between the two episodes on Ash Said It Daily and the Riot Starter Chat, just had some great conversations with some great entrepreneurial women who are out here making a difference in the world, be it through consulting, counseling, speaking publicly and as a motivational speaker, or through blogging. And I'm just loving the fact that I'm getting to connect with so many great people out in different industries and getting to share the story of Buy Black Podcast on their platforms, and then also kind of bring knowledge of their platforms to you guys who are out in our audience. So it's all about networking, making connections, and increasing the profile of all of our media types and all of our entrepreneurs who are out there doing great things. So be looking forward to those features that are out, and definitely help me promote them when I do release on the Facebook pages and in the Facebook group that these shows are out. Do me a favor, share those shows to your pages, share them with other people, and go out and listen to the podcast that I'm getting features on, because they do some phenomenal work. And then the last thing I want to tell you guys about, so here this last week on February 28th, I got the opportunity to go up to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I was the keynote at a Black Wealth Building seminar, and it was an incredible event. I had a great time, and I just wanted to give a special thanks to Julian and Inka, to Mark and to Harriet, and to all the rest of you guys out there with ESC who invited me up. You guys treated me like family, y'all. I'm telling you, when we got done with this event, people stayed for another hour and a half. They had to shut out the lights and get people to leave because there were so many questions of me and of the other folks who presented at this conference. There was great interest in learning more and connecting, and that was great. And then when we got done, we went out for some drinks and we hung out and then started talking, and I felt like I was part of the family, and very, very grateful to you guys for including me in the family conversation that y'all had, allowing me to be a part of that and make me feel like, like a valued member of your family. That to me means a lot. But that's enough of that. As I said earlier, today's guest is going to be Oliver Michael Fitzpatrick. Two things I want to tell you guys about him before we get started. The first thing is that he is a personal marketing master. He is incredible at opening doors and then finding ways to build his personal brand, to build relationships with people that help him get closer to his goals. He's going to talk to us about that today. But then also his handcrafted custom bow ties that he makes, and he sews them by hand, and they're incredible. He picks the fabrics, he does all of it. He has made a special offer for those of us in the audience to get 25% off of his product. That is incredibly generous, and I thank you for that, Oliver. So for those of you guys listening, if you go to his website, which is www.ndeedregime.bigcartel.com, that is www.ndeedregime.bigcartel.com, and you put in the promo code BuyBlackPod. So that promo code is BUYBLACKPOD. You will get 25% off of your order of a custom bow tie from Oliver Michael Fitzpatrick. So I just wanted to throw those things out there before we got started on the episode. I'll give you a quick reminder after the show is over, and of course I'll have those links and that promo code in the show notes. But other than that, I'm going to let this man speak for himself. I've taken up enough of your time getting started. Let's get right into the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Buy Black, your only podcast dedicated to helping you find and connect with Black-owned businesses. It is your host, Gerald Jones, and I thank you for joining me again for episode, is it 29 now, or is it 30 that we're at? I gotta check. Hold on, everybody. Let me pull this up on the interwebs real quick and see where we are on the podcast. And Oliver, I'm leaving you sitting here hanging, but I do this in my solo episodes all the time. I'll just have to check a little bit of truth for me real quick. All right,
let me check do your thing.
All right. Let's see here. This is going to be episode number 30.
Look out. Big 30.
Yes. And I'm so glad I got to have you on for episode number 30. All right. So everybody, this is episode 30 of the Buy Black podcast, and I just got hyped. Tonight, y'all are going to be introduced to the third individual that I'm having on this show who I grew up with, went to high school at the same location, have very close connections with, going, parents and everything. And we was just having a conversation in the pre-review about it. But tonight I'm going to introduce you guys to Oliver Michael Fitzpatrick. He is the creator of NDeed Regime Custom Bow Ties, and he is a networker extraordinaire. Michael, and now I'm calling you Michael, just like we was just talking about your middle name, Oliver.
Yeah,
Oliver.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on the show, brother.
Man, it's a blessing, man. It's a pleasure to be here, man, on your Buy Black podcast, man. It's definitely a pleasure. I thank you for having me on here on this platform, man.
Man, I appreciate you being patient with me. So for those of y'all out there listening, we have been trying to connect literally since before I started this podcast. Oliver was one of the first people who I reached out to and said, hey, I have an idea. Bro, I want to put you on it because I love what you're doing with your bow ties. And we've tried to connect back and forth several times. And now I finally figured out what the show is supposed to look like. And we figured out our timing. And you guys are connecting with us for episode 30. So speaking of Oliver and our background that we were talking about here, so As I've told y'all several times before, I graduated from the historic Little Rock Central High School. If you don't know
Yeah.
about my high school, go ahead and look it up. Those of y'all who don't know about 1957 and the integration in Little Rock. But at Little Rock Central High School, I had a basketball coach. His name was Oliver Fitzpatrick, and one of the most important men in my life. And Michael Fitzpatrick just happens to be his son. So we have gone way back. So talk to me a little bit, Oliver, about about you, about your upbringing. Tell the people a little bit about who you are, and I know a lot of that is going to probably tie into that those connections we have through basketball, through school, and through your pops. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about you, brother.
Man, I guess you can start with like you just said, man. My pops is Coach Fitz, man, the head basketball coach, soon to be retired head basketball coach.
What?
He's retiring this year. Yeah, he's retiring this year, man.
I got to make my way home.
Oh yeah, most definitely. This is his last year, and that's my father, man. So I've been around basketball and things like that just all of my life, man. And he's put me in all kind of different sports and things, but basketball is what I gravitated to. And so I'm really, man, just a gym rat, man, from birth. So just playing basketball was really my thing. But like I've always had this passion for fashion, and that was one thing that me and my pop used to talk about all the time. But he was always kind of joking with me about like I'm always dressed to the nine all the time, and always wearing this and these type of different style shoes and stuff like that. So there was always a running joke between us. Was that. So, but as far as just me, man, like basketball really kind of took me through elementary school, junior high school. Then I played college ball at Arkansas Baptist College, and that's also where I got my associate's degree as well. And around, I would say, towards that second year of college is really when I was kind of like, this fashion thing is something that I really, really want to kind of dive into. And I always was wearing bow ties and things of that nature, and I kind of started with getting regular neckties and tying those into bow ties. And so that was really kind of how I got started. And along with just, I was styling some of my friends, and you know how it is when you let some of your friends borrow clothes and stuff like that, or I was always the one that me and my boys about to go out, and he called me, "Hey Fitz, man, what you wearing to the party tonight, or what you wearing when we go out?" So like that kind of just stuck with me. So everyone kind of knew me for being that stylish person.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just took that, man, and kind of just ran with it, and had this epiphany about NDeed, and kind of just put it down on paper first, and just kind of had some visions about it, and kind of just went towards it, man. And like I said, started with the bow ties, and from there went to wholesaling the bow ties, finding the bow ties overseas, and wholesaling them. And from there, the wholesaling thing was doing good for a little while. And then I started to get a lot more clientele and people that were wanting the bow ties a lot sooner than what they were actually coming in from overseas. So I had to eliminate the middleman. I thought to myself, like, how can I do this? Like, what can I do to kind of help my customer base out? So I decided to go to fashion school for a little while to learn how to sew, kind of get that basics down. And man, it was an eye opener for me, man, because like I've never sewn in my life, didn't even own a sewing machine. So this was all new to me. And during this time as well, like I've always worked a full-time job, working a full-time job now. So doing this on the side and as well. So got me a sewing machine, learned how to sew, got the basics of that. And then kind of just did some more research, man, and looked on YouTube and found out, had some instructions on actually how to sew an actual bow tie and different styles and variations of bow ties as well. So, man, I just kind of just got in the kitchen, as we say, and went to work on it, man, and got it to a point to where I perfected it to where I felt like, hey, this is a product that that I feel I can stand behind, that I can stand behind, put my name on, and put it out to the public. And I went from there, man, and people loved it. So it's been going from that point.
That's incredible. So that's a little bit more than I knew about your bow tie journey there. I want to back up a little bit. So
Yeah.
you started off with wholesaling and getting them from overseas. Now, just for people listening out in the audience, y'all have heard on several episodes before about creating products or getting new products, right? And a lot of our other guests have talked about that, finding manufacturers and getting those products and basically private labeling the products for yourself, bringing them in and then selling those things retail. But what I loved that I just heard from you is that you looked and you said, I need to eliminate the middleman, and you decided I'm going to learn how to make this myself. So what was it? I know you said that people didn't like the time that it took to get things from overseas, but what was it that made you decide, instead of finding a local manufacturer, for you to just get the skills yourself and start manufacturing yourself? And how did that change the flavor of your business once you did that?
Well, I have to say, Joe, that the biggest thing is the fact that I've always been a person who wants to learn new things, and also depending on myself and not having to depend on others. And also it helped with my creativity, because I feel like that I have a very creative mind, and also it helped me to be able to show more of my creativity, which in turn shows it signifies my brand of NDeed, to separate myself from other brands. So, like, instead of me having to choose from fabrics that are given to me or shown to me, then I can go out and I can research and I can find my own fabrics and find my own patterns. I've even got to the point now to where I can create my own pattern now. So, like, that's really what I would say that's probably the biggest thing that made me want to do that, is to where it just gave me my own creativity to be able to go and do what I wanted to do, and not have to really depend on someone else to do it. Because one thing I did leave out is before I started doing them myself, after I did the overseas thing, I had a person in New York that I would get the fabric, and I would ship the fabric to New York to a person that's throwing them there, and that also became a timely thing as well. Plus, as far as cost as well, you know, like, but it costs to have to ship things out like that as well, and things like that. So, just like I said before, the biggest thing is just the creativity aspect of it, man. Just being able to have your own creative influence on what you're doing, and then also it helps to signify your brand. Like, you can put my product next to another product, and you can look at that and say, okay, that's an NDeed product.
Yes, yes. And you're not gonna catch that right off the shelf anywhere, because, like you said, it's your eyeball looking and saying, "Oh, that's a nice pattern of fabric. That would go good with this suit. That would go good with that blazer. I'm gonna go ahead and make this." And that's just man, that blows my mind. I'm not a creative type, and so when I run across people like you who are creative types and can see a blank canvas and see what it can be, and beyond that, actually do the job of turning it into that thing, man. It blows my mind, and I'm proud to know people like you who go out in the world and do stuff like that.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So looking at the development of your entrepreneurial life, right? So you've got these products that you create and that you sell online, and that I'm sure you're selling in some stores. But right alongside that, you said you've always had a full-time job. You keep a full-time job. Talk to me about that evolution. How were you able to manage having your full-time job and then also doing your entrepreneurial journey side by side? How did you develop that path that you've been on?
I would say, man, that it's one of those things. I'm pretty sure it sounds kind of cliche, but a lot of entrepreneurs will tell you the same thing. But there's no way that I'm going to spend 8 hours of my day working for someone else, making them rich, and then not invest that same amount of time in myself when I get out. So I mean, it's some long nights, and it's some early mornings, but it's all worth it, you know, because like when you see the finished product from what you worked on, and you see how happy your customers are with your product once they get it in their hands, and in my case around the neck, then it's all worth it. Like all those late nights staying up and sewing, those that time on your days off when you have to go and spend hours in a fabric store or spend hours in different meetings and talking with different people to get things done that you need to get done. It's all worth it, man. And I think that's the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur, man. Is just you have to invest that time, and I mean the time that you put into your business is what you're going to get out of it. So definitely having a full-time job and being an entrepreneur is tough. But I mean, but like my pops say all the time, but if it was easy to be great, then everybody would be it.
Man, and I love those Coach Fitzisms too, man. They he's got a million of them, and they all just kind of hit you in the chest like, well, yeah, all right, I'll do it. Yes, sir.
I know, right?
So I wanted to ask a little bit more on kind of how you have, how do I want to ask this? Like we were having the conversation just a second ago about how you're about to make a move, right, to a new location, new job, everything like that. But you know, ever since we've been adults and I've been kind of following your path, I've seen, you know, you've gone from, you know, working selling cell phones at this location, which I used to do myself, to hey, working and being a person who actually dresses and fits clothes. I don't know the terminology for it, but you know, you're a stylist for. What was that?
I said pretty much a stylist.
Yes, a stylist for major organizations, to going, and you got the DFW radio thing that you've done. It's like, it seems like not only is it that you're not just being complacent and stuck in a day job at one spot, but it's like you've been making your day job mirror your entrepreneurial journey. It's like you were using the job to get skills that would help you do your business. And it seems like you've always been able to open doors to get you where you want to go. So talk to me about that. Kind of, what was that progression? How have you moved along the path in your day job in such a way that it's been putting you in positions that you have been doing with the entrepreneurial job?
I would say, man, that with every job that I've had, it's been a new journey, and it's also been, I guess, a new vision of what I can do as far as in my entrepreneurial life. So I mean, as far as like, for instance, working at AT&T, I worked there for 6 years, and what it did was there was so many different business aspects that I learned from working at AT&T, as far as just different sales tactics, as far as talking about different products and things of that nature. They put a lot of training in us as far as being able to actually know how to sell and talking points and how to really talk about your product to get it to where people want to have it, and learning all those different type of terminologies and things like that, and also learning how to read people's body language and things of that nature, to see what people are saying without them actually speaking. Those type of things have helped me, and they've also put me in front of all kind of different people in different walks of life, to where I'm able to talk with them and gain other knowledge as far as from just talking with people. And I would say with the next job, as far as working at the men's suit store, being a stylist, I mean, that was something that I felt like that I wanted to do, because I knew that I wanted to progress my business into going more into the styling aspect of it, learning how to properly measure people for custom suits, because I knew that was something that I wanted to evolve into my business. So just being able to firsthand get that knowledge from people who this is what they do. Like, this is what their everyday life is. They've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years in this business, and just being a sponge and just learning how to do these different things to where I can add it into my repertoire of things that I do. So I would say just learning different aspects of the different jobs that I've had, and just being able to just use the things that I learned and just implement it into my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it shows that every move you make is taking you closer to that that goal line, and it's like it's obvious to see, right? Like some people, they move around and it's like, oh, I don't know if this person really knows what they want to do. But with you, it's like every move that you've made has been a clear and purposeful move towards your dream. And that's, I wanted to bring that up because I've been talking a lot lately about the word leverage. Actually, I just did a keynote the other day, which you know this, but I did a keynote the other day up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, at a Black Wealth seminar, and I spoke a lot about leverage and how important it is that we stop thinking that hard work alone is going to that's going to catch us up. But it's not. We've got to learn how to leverage the resources we have to get where we want to go. And I feel like you're a perfect example of that because, you didn't say, all right, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go learn how to sew and then I'm going to make it with this bow tie game, right? You said there are companies out here who can teach me the skills to sell. I'm going to work on those skills in that company while I work on my business. There's companies out here that can teach me the skills to measure people, to be able to create tailored products and tailored suits specifically to somebody. And I can get those skills while somebody pays me a check that are going to help me eventually run my business better. That is 100% leverage. And so I love to just reiterate to people out in the audience, leverage isn't just using credit. Leverage is using any tool available to you that's going to make it easier for you to get where you need to go.
Indeed.
So, yeah, let's speak on that a little bit from your perspective.
I would say that I mean, basically what you just said. I mean, leverage is everything, because you just have to be strategic in what you're doing and know exactly what it is that you want. And not let anyone stand in your way of your dreams. And because I know it was kind of crazy to people. I know, especially when I was at AT&T, like I said, I worked there for 6 years, and I was people knew what I did, and when I told them I was gonna leave and move to Texas, and I was gonna be working for a shoe store, they was like, what? like why would you do that? And I mean, like at the same time, I knew it was gonna be a difficult move. To do it, but at the same time, I knew that this was something that was going to benefit me in the long run. And I would have to say that, man, it has. Like, I've been here going on about 2 years now, and the knowledge that I have learned from working in a men's suit store and also doing custom suits, learning how to measure people, and then also networking with people while I've been down here. That's another form of leverage, is the people that you meet. Knowing the right people, networking with the right type of people, those people can leverage you in a lot of situations and get you in the door to a lot of places that you're trying to go as well. So I would definitely say that yeah, I agree, man. Leverage is everything.
That's awesome. And you are the king of the segue because you brought us right to the doorsteps of the main event, the main reason that I wanted to bring you on to share with people today. Y'all out in the audience, I'm telling you, this man, Oliver, is the king of networking. He is the king of building relationships with people strategically. And I don't mean to say that in a negative way, but strategically finding the people who he can help, who are going to also put him in a position where he can grow and basically working those things positively for both sides. I mean, I think if there's any skill that has been lost in our generation, it is networking for the right reasons and in the right way. And you are a master at it. So I wanted to bring you on today to mainly talk about your process for building relationships and building networks that will help you get closer to accomplishing your dreams. So I'll just leave it wide open. That's your topic, man. I'm going to hand it over to you. Talk to us about how you go about the process of building those relationships and building networks.
Okay, well, I got a few key points as far as just to kind of talk about as far as the networking and basically, I guess, like from my point of view and how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to start off by just saying that the biggest thing to me personally about networking is being a genuine person. You know, because you can't insult people's intelligence and think that people don't know if you're being genuine or not. You know, and I have to say that that's one thing that I feel like I am is I'm a genuine person, and also when I'm talking to people, it doesn't matter what walk of life they're from. Like if I'm talking to you, because I don't really talk to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
like you know, so if I'm talking to you, then I genuinely want to know about you, and I'm not just asking you questions just so I can say something to you. You know, like I genuinely want to know about you because the people that you talk to and you networking with the right type of people and learning about different people, then you never know who you're going to need in the future. So definitely, like the first thing I would just like to say is like just be genuine. I mean, you don't have to fake anything or whatever like that. Just be a genuine person. And the first point that I start off with is um, as far as with people who have a product. Especially when it comes to my product is it's an article of clothing or styling accessory is wear your product. Like it's just like anything else, man. Like there's no way that I'm gonna be walking around town wearing someone else's brand of bow ties. Like what sense would that make? Like that wouldn't make any sense at all.
Right.
And the reason for that is because I have that much confidence in my product that I know that it's going to strike a conversation. And that's almost like my icebreaker for my networking abilities is that I know that while I'm out and about town and I'm wearing my product, someone's going to stop me and be like, hey, that's a nice bow tie, man. Where did you get that from? And that's all I need.
Yeah.
From that point, then I'm gonna start a conversation with that person, and like I said, be genuine about it and learn about what that person does and things of that nature. And if it's something that I feel like that I could benefit them, then the next thing is having a business card. Always have your business cards on hand. If they're like I have them in my wallet. If I run out of my wallet, I let them know, hey, follow me to my car because I have them in my car. So and then also have products in my car. So I mean, having business cards on you at all times, so where you can be able to trade business cards with other people because that's something that they can hold on to. I know that some people will say that business cards are out of there. Like nobody really keeps business cards and things like that anymore. But I mean, I have to disagree, you know, like because if you really strike up a good enough conversation with someone to where you leave an impression on them, then they're going to keep up with your business card. Like
Yeah.
they'll use it.
What you just said there, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you said something that was really key, and I don't even think you intended to say it. I think it's just the way that you function. Because you didn't say you need to have business cards on you so that you can give people business cards. You said you need to have business cards on you so that you can trade business cards. And that, to me, is a huge distinction. And I think you're getting into that when you're talking about the conversation part of this. But what's the right way to go about that when it comes to having business cards on you? How do you get to that point where you are trading business cards with somebody?
Well, I would say that majority of the time, the people that I come in interaction with, they end up being some type of entrepreneur, or they do some type of business to where they have business cards. Whether it be, I meet a lot of insurance agents. I meet a lot of people who, like I said, are entrepreneurs, have their own business, photographers, people who have jewelry business, clothing lines, and all types of different things. And they have business cards. And I don't hesitate to ask them. Like after we talk for a couple of minutes, and I learn things about them, they learn things about me, and we kind of share our stories with each other and kind of find that common ground, that common connection. Then I ask them, hey, do you have a business card? And if they tell me yes, then we'll swap business cards. If they tell me no, then my next question to them is, do you have any type of social media? Because that's almost like your electronic business card there, which kind of brings me to another point, man. Make sure that you have your social media looking right. Like, I know a lot of people have all kind of different kind of mess all on their social media, man. Like, if you really learn how to work that social media, man, it can really be a good tool for you. I don't want to get off track here, but that's definitely the other point as far as exchanging a business card, social media contacts, things of that nature, because that also, man, you can help each other out with following each other, because in return your information things is going to be on their feed, and then their information is going to be on your feed. Other people can see it. You can shout each other out, and other people, it brings other people to your page. In return, customers of that nature. So all of that is I would say, as far as how I kind of get that started, as far as just asking them like, hey, do you have a business card, and then going from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you get back on track. I wanted to back up real quick to that one because I thought that was really important. The trading instead of just keep business cards on you because you want to hand them out to everybody. I think that's where people get into man, don't nobody do that anymore. But I think you're right. Business cards they're a strategic tool. Yeah. They're not something you just go out and you just flip them all and hope one of them sticks with somebody that's going to call you.
Exactly, yeah, because I'm very conscious of who I give my business card to as well, because I mean, just like people can tell if you're genuine. I know people can tell if you're not. And I have had some conversations with people where I was like, this probably wouldn't, I don't think I would be able to benefit them, and I don't think that they would be able to benefit me. I mean, it was good talking with them, but I don't just give out business cards like it's gum or anything like that. I definitely, like you said, it's a strategic process, and it's a strategic thing that I do, and I give it to certain people that I feel is gonna use it either now or in the near future.
I like it.
I would say the next thing I kind of go along with what I was just talking about is just don't hesitate to strike up a conversation with people. I know that I don't do a lot of small talk, I guess you would say. Like majority of the time, if I'm having a conversation with someone, then it's leading to something, and it has some type of validity to it, to where it's going to strike up some type of companionship, to where we're going to be keeping in contact with each other. The next thing I would say is when people are talking to you, make sure you listen, and listen for helpful clues. So, like when you're talking to people, let them talk, let them get their thoughts out, and let them speak and tell their story and things of that nature. You ask them questions and kind of let them know that so that you're listening to what they're saying, and then also through that process, somehow there's going to be some type of common ground between you and that person if you all have a long enough conversation, and that is the key to where you will find that connection to be able to really stick that process of networking together, is when you guys find that common ground. Because now that you guys have found that common ground, and you all are almost like out of that stranger aspect now. Like, this is no longer a stranger. Like, this is the guy I want to get to know. Or this is the guy that he's a cool person. Like, I really need to get to know this guy. Matter of fact, for example, I met a guy not too long ago, and we were talking about suits and things of that nature. He coming in on my bow tie. I was like, man, that's a nice bow tie. I never seen anything like that. Man, where'd you get it from? And I was like, well, I made it. And when I told him that I made it, it's always funny just seeing the look on people's faces when they see a 6'4" black man talking about he made or sewn a bow tie.
Yes.
It's like that alone, the shock value of that is just, it never gets old to me. So like he was like, the look on his face is like, wow, like really? He's like, so you really, like, you made this? And I was like, yeah, like underneath the sewing machine. I made this, picked the fabrics out, cut it out, and everything. He's like, man, that's awesome, man. So we got to talking about that, and come to find out, he has his own hair cream where he like has a scientist that he got with, and they developed his hair product, and he actually shouted me out on his Instagram. We exchanged business cards and things of that nature. And a great guy, and that's just one example of just networking, man. And like you never know who you're gonna meet, and also what type of experience that you will leave on that person. And I never knew that he was gonna shout me out on his Instagram, which he has like thousands of followers, and it was very very humbling and helpful at the same time. That he did that. That he did that for me. Let's see here. With my next point.
Before you go into that next point, I wanted to clarify something for me real quick. So you said in those conversations, listen for helpful clues, and then you follow that up saying you're looking for common ground. So it sounds to me that like those are the helpful clues, right? Like I'm listening for the clues that'll tell me where this person and me have a connection that goes deeper than just this small talk.
Absolutely. Okay. Because what that's going to do is it's going to help you with the conversation as far as taking the conversation longer to where it's not just a short conversation. Mm-hmm. Because let's just say, for example, I'm talking to a person and he just so happens like it's been times I've talked to people and they'll tell me something about farming or something like that, just for an example. And with me being who I am and just the different walks of life that I've been a part of as far as just my family and friends and things of that nature, I'm able to connect with people on all kind of different levels, especially with me going to an international school of foreign languages and foreign studies from kindergarten to sixth grade, speaking German as a second language. Those are the type of different, and just being around different people, then I'm able to connect with people on different levels. And also with the whole farming thing, like my grandmother lives in Stuttgart, Arkansas, from Clarendon, Arkansas. My mother's from Clarendon. So there's nothing but farming down there. Like, and I spent a lot of time there and still do from time to time. So like I've been around that life, and also with the rice and things like that. And so just being knowledgeable, that's why it's important, man, just to be knowledgeable about an array of things and not just be knowledgeable about one particular thing. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to every subject, but knowing a little bit about a lot of things is helpful. You know, like just watching documentaries on Netflix and just on different things. Like I like to watch documentaries on different chefs and things of that nature, and those type of things have helped me in different conversations with other people because they don't expect for me to know different type of things like that because they just don't expect me to know those type of things. But knowing those things helps me build a connection with that individual to where we can keep talking and having a deeper conversation, and they feel more comfortable because they're like, hey, this guy really, he knows about these type of things. It, like just with music or whatever the case might be, like the common ground might be anything, but you just have to find whatever that common ground is, and then you go from there.
Okay. And then I have one more point that I wanted to make before you move on to your next one. Mm-hmm. When you said you don't strike up a lot of conversations with people, and I think for those of y'all listening out in the audience, there's probably a lot of you listening who think, well, I can't network because I'm not an extrovert. I'm not a social butterfly. Yeah. I'm not going around the room trying to connect with all these different people. But, some of the best networkers are introverts for exactly what Oliver is talking about here, because introverted people like to listen, right? Yeah. We don't want to have the center of attention and things like that. We have no problem listening as long as somebody's got something important to talk about. So don't feel like you can't get out there and be a good networker just because you're not the person to go and strike up a conversation with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that you run across.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. I'm glad you made that point. That is very true. That I have to say that being a good listener, man, is taking me a long way. Like just being able to listen to people and let people talk, man, and just being able to also uh, have a full conversation with them, let them know that I'm understanding where they're coming from or whatever the case might be. Because sometimes people might just want to vent as well, and being able to be that listening ear for some people is very helpful.
Very cool. All right, man. I won't interrupt again. What's the next point you're gonna bring to us?
Okay. I'll say this is one of my last points here is and it goes along with the helpful clues, but the helpful clues that can benefit you and how you can benefit them. So like when you're listening for those helpful clues, you're also listening for, okay, out of this conversation that we're having, what is it about my product to where I feel like it can benefit them, or what service that I have that I feel like it can benefit them, and if it can't benefit them, then who do they know they can benefit from this? So if I'm talking to a person, like for instance, I'm talking to a person who's an insurance agent. I know insurance agents. I know that they have to wear that they wear suits 95% of the time, and I know that they probably don't just work by themselves. They probably work for a firm, which everyone in the firm wears suits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I feel like, okay, I can benefit this person in this way because I'm a stylist. I provide a service with custom bow ties, and also I can get them custom suits. Now, as far as them benefiting me, as far as with insurance or financial wealth or financial planning and things of that nature that they do, then that's something that benefits me because that's something that service that I'm going to need. I'm going to need to be able to call someone and get a good point of view on financial decisions that I might be making in the near future, or I might need to sit down and talk to a financial planner, and then also that's a networking possibility for if I meet someone else that might need that service and I'm able to bring a person to him or her to be able to help that person out because it's a scratch my back, I scratch your type of thing because they also build trust in your networking circle. Is if I'm working with someone or I'm networking with an individual and I'm able to bring him a customer or bring her a customer, then that shows that, man, that guy was like listening to me what we were talking about. He wasn't just blowing smoke up my butt or anything like that. He was really he really was listening to what I was talking about, and he brought me a customer. So now that person is gonna be like, like if he or she hasn't already sent me a customer, then that's gonna also trigger to them like, hey, let me find somebody to send to him. So it's almost like it's just the networking thing. It goes so much deeper, man, because it's almost like you're building a relationship with this person, to where it's a business relationship, to where you guys are helping each other out, and I think that's what's so important about what you're doing here, Gerald, with the Bob Black podcast is that it needs to be more of that with our people. We have to get to a point to where we're helping each other out, and it doesn't matter what the product is. There's so many people, especially African American people out here, that's doing so many different things in so many different aspects of life. To where they all the way from styling to finances to jewelry to soaps to whatever it is you can think of. I'm pretty sure that there's some African American company owned that's doing it. And if we can get to the point to where we're finding each other and able to help each other out and purchase each other's product and invest in each other and network with other people to bring each other customers, there's so much power in that we can do. You just saw it with the Black Panther movie that came out, where they're blowing the box office away, with almost $1 billion in revenue,
in less than half a month.
In less than half a month, so that shows you the power that we have if we just do it and invest in each other. I mean, we shouldn't have to have a movie like that come out just for us to be able to show that we can support each other, you know. And kudos go out to them, you know, like it was a great movie. I've seen the movie twice. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely a great movie. But I think that I'm glad that it came out, and I'm glad that people were able to come and support it. But I think that it shouldn't be just a phase, you know. It shouldn't be just something that we just do just to support these actors and things of that nature. That should be something that we do on a consistent basis, you know, because it would definitely evolve us and take us to a whole other level in the future.
Well, you know, I completely agree with that, and I appreciate you shouting out, you know, what we are doing here with the podcast, because that's exactly what it's for, is bringing together all these different industries and finding a place, not just that you can find businesses, right? Because there's like 30 black business directories out there, but really a place where you can connect with people. You know, you can connect with me. People are going to be able to connect with you, and you get to know the people behind these businesses, people you can reach out to for help and support across businesses. So I love that. Before I forget, so you were talking about the networking thing and how important it is to be looking for ways to help people. So there is another entrepreneur who I've connected with. His name is Dominic Lawson. He runs a show called The Startup Life Podcast. So anybody listening, go out and find it. Dominic runs an incredible show. But he made a post on Facebook just the other day that I had to take it and share it. And it kind of breaks down what you were talking about. I wanted to try to paraphrase it here. What he basically said was, with networking, you have to look at networking like opening a bank account. And you're constantly making deposits, right? When you start a relationship with somebody, you're opening that account and you are just constantly making deposits. And those deposits are, oh, I found somebody who could be a customer of yours. Oh, I found somebody who could be a partner of yours. Oh, I found somebody who has the answer to this problem you told me you had. And you're just constantly making those deposits into that person. And then later on down the line, you go and you make a small withdrawal out, right? But then you're constantly then depositing more and more and more. And the intent being, you look at it as an account and you always want to keep a positive balance.
Oh, yeah.
You never want to go into it and start withdrawing after you made the first deposit. You're going to pull that out and you start overdrafting, because guess what? Your account's going to get closed. And so I love the way he put that, and the way you just explained it yourself tied right into that. So I just thought that was great.
Yeah, that's definitely a great analogy, man. I like that a lot. Yeah. And you said his name was Dominique Lawson?
Dominic. Yep. Dominic Lawson.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to look him up.
He's out of Memphis too. He's not too far away from home. So him and there's also another guy named Ron Brooks, who I connected with today. You were talking about Black Panther, so I've now done 2 Black Panther review episodes, one on the Mocha Menace podcast, and then I just did one today on the Minding Your Business podcast with Ron Brooks. And Ron does the same thing. He's got an incredible business-focused podcast. He runs out of Memphis, and so there's a lot of good podcasters that are right there around, around that home area that are putting great work out into the world, and then also running some great businesses, consulting businesses in the business world and in the education world. So, yeah, to you, Oliver, check them out, but folks out in the audience too. The Startup Life podcast, the Minding Your Business podcast, great sources of information to help you be successful in your businesses. Along with this podcast, we're out here building networks in the podcasting world, as well as building networks for y'all that are out there in the community. So,
most definitely, definitely put those in my notes there. I definitely be following up with those too, right there.
Good. So I want to turn a corner real quick. Before we do that, did you have any additional points, or was that the last major point you want to teach us on the networking?
I have to say that was the last major point then.
Okay. So I want to turn the corner. I want to ask the question, in your entrepreneurial life, in your business life, just as an adult, what has been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
I would say the biggest challenge, and it's an unfortunate thing, but the biggest challenge is, I would say, what's the best way for me to say this, is the respect of the of your own people as you being as them being consumers of yours, and the respect of you being a small business. You know, like, it's easy for people to go out and, for instance, they go to Walmart. You know what? I'm gonna keep it in the fashion field. So let's just say they go to dealers. And they go and they look on they're in dealers, they look at their clothes and they say, hey man, that bow tie there, man, I really like that bow tie. The bow tie is, let's just give it a amount, let's just say it's $75, and it's a Ralph Lauren bow tie. And they look at it, it says Ralph Lauren on it, $75. This is a plain bow tie with no hesitation. They take that bow tie to the register. They tell them what their total is, and they pull out their card, swipe, and they happy, and they go home. But when it seems like the challenges I've had is my bow ties are custom made by hand, and you're the only one who's gonna have it. And I charge starting around the same price, and sometimes even lower, and I still have to compete or have to combat with people about why I charge what I charge. And I think that that's just unfortunate, and that's definitely been a challenge of mine, is having to talk with people about why I'm charging what I'm charging for my bow ties, as if I shouldn't be charging what I'm charging. And I think it's just a lack of people have a lack of respect for small businesses compared to larger businesses. And if you really, like, with me doing the research that I've done, like, these people, man, that have these larger companies that are doing what they're doing, then kudos go out to them. I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm hating on large companies. I mean, I soon to will be a large company. But the way that they're doing things, they're not hand making these products. They're getting it from overseas, and they're paying a factory to make a wholesale of their product, and then they put it in stores. So I mean, just the fact of the matter is that you're getting a handmade product, and also you're actually getting a hand into making what you want. I mean, like, it's a consultation process that I go through with all my clients. I mean, you're getting to look at the fabric choices. You're making a fabric choice, giving you different fabric samples to look at, color schemes to look at, and you're actually being involved in the purchase. So you're really getting something that's personable. And I feel like that my product is something that really it deserves the price that I put on it. And in some instances, I get with people and they can't even believe that it's as low as it is. So I think as far as to answer your question, how did I overcome that, is just what I've done is made different tiers as far as my product is concerned. And I have different tiers of how my product, the cost of it. I've run different sales on it, different promotions and things of that nature, to where you can say there's a code. Matter of fact, I was going to talk to you about this later, as well as doing something with you as far as maybe using a code, a Buy Black podcast as a code, and people get 25% off on a bow tie. So I mean, like, just doing things of that nature is definitely is how I've overcome that challenge. And then also just getting with the right people to wear the product to kind of add some more validity to my product. For instance, networking again. I was able to network with a guy named Clay James. Clay James is a protege of Snoop Dogg, and he's a rapper, performer, and his claim to fame is he wears bow ties. And I mean, if you go to my social media, you will see him on there. He's even on my website. You will see his picture on my website. You go to his page, you will see him shouting me out and wearing my product, and just getting with the right type of people to get the product out to where people can see that it's out there. Because one of those things, man, it's sad to say, but some people just they don't want to jump on the train when it's just now getting started, or when it's as small as it is. But all of a sudden, when it gets huge, then all of a sudden everybody wants to get on it. So it is what it is. But that's the way that I've overcome that challenge.
I love that answer. And as you were talking, so another networking opportunity, I'm going to have to get you connected with a guy named Jamel LeBranch. Jamel was on episode 19 of my show. He owns a company called Faith is Fuel Shades, FIF Shades.
Okay.
And he does these custom sunglasses.
Okay.
And he expressed the same frustration of having a high quality product, a custom product that he's charging a value that is accurate for what he's putting out into the market, and just running across people who are just like, oh, I'm not going to spend that much money on a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
But I want to connect y'all because he's done the same thing when it comes to finding the right influencers to wear his shades. And what he did, his method has been going to Instagram and just sending 2 or 3 photos of his product to key influencers, whether they be athletes or entertainers, just shooting them in that DM and saying nothing with it. I'm just shooting you a couple of pictures of my product. And then when people respond like, oh man, that's hot, then he's got a new influencer who's on his stuff. So I think y'all might be good to pair up and kind of hit both sides of that accessory market there, because he's got the sunglasses and you got the bow ties, but I think both of those are very popular among those fashionistas or however you would say the male version of that out there in the world. Is the accessories are everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I wear glasses and shades a lot, so that's definitely someone I would definitely love to get in contact with, especially. Being another brother, man, we out here, man, together, man. We gotta watch each other's back, man, and help each other as much as we can. So I definitely would be looking out for him. You said it's Stiff Shades, Faith is Fuel.
Yeah, Faith is Fuel. So if you look up fifshades.com, you'll find Jamel's product. He's got some really nice looking sunglasses, man. And I know your style. You're going to find at least 3 or 4 pair on there that you're going to be like, oh man, that's hot. I got to have that. So yeah, check his stuff out. But I'll get you in fact, when we get off the phone tonight, I'll create a group message on Facebook, and I'll just, connect you through that, let y'all start talking to each other.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can definitely do something, man, because that's another thing, man, is especially through the social media thing, man, it's just when you get connected with the right people, man, and being able to share each other's product on each other's page, man, it helps a lot, man, because what it does is it puts it out to a whole other different network of people that you don't even have. So, I'm telling you, man, this that networking, man, it can go as deep as you want it to go. And it can really benefit you, man, if you work it the right way.
Absolutely. Well, hey, so last question here before we get to the contact information. What do you have coming up next? What's going on with NDeed? What's coming up next? What are you bringing to the market pretty soon? And what can we help you out with as an audience of the Buy Black podcast?
What I got coming up next, one of my big things I got coming up is the NFL Fantasy Football Convention. I got invited to that through another networking opportunity, and got invited to that. So I have a booth there in Dallas. That'll be coming up in second week of July. I believe it's like the 11th to the 13th. Also, I've been working with a guy, Michael D. Snell Bespoke, doing some collaborations with him and his company with my bow ties. And doing some collaborations with him. What I got coming up is the custom suits. So working with that, with these factories, I'm on that. With the custom suits, where I'm doing the suits, blazers, shirts, also coats, things of that nature as well. So That's really what I got going right now, man. Is really kind of put all this stuff thing together, and then as well as the styling aspect of it, and being able to style people as well. So man, just putting all these different eggs in this basket and making it work.
That sounds good, man. So anybody who's out there, if you're in one of those industries where you're looking for new products in the style industry, or if you know of any type of events coming up that's going to showcase fashion, and you can get in touch with Oliver, then we definitely want to help him get this product out in front of people. The custom, I think the custom handmade portion of this is what makes it so incredible as a product. And if you go to his website, which is going to be what is it, www.n-deed regime.
Well, it's not a dash in there. It's just www.ndeed, and that's N as in Nancy, DEED, regime.bigcartel.com.
Okay.
The best way to kind of get to there, because I know people can't remember it because it might be a little long for people, but if they just go to my Instagram, I have two Instagram. I have my personal one, which is also I put business stuff on there as well. But my personal is _I am Fitz, so IAMFITZ. You can go there, and I have a website link to where you can just hit the link and go to the website. Also, the business page is N as in Nancy _DEED _. That's N as in Nancy _DEED _, and that's the business page, and you can go there. It also has a link on Facebook. Now, Facebook does have the N-Deed on Facebook, and it's a link there to where you can just press the link and go to the website there. I have an Etsy account, so you can go there, N-Deed on there. So go any of those places, man, and be able to get in contact with me. Even if you need to hit me via email, then it's NDeed, NDEED.inc@gmail.com. So any of those places, man, you'll definitely be able to get a hold of me.
That is awesome. I appreciate you shouting all those out, man. And with that, you tossed out all the connections where people can find you, can find the product. We'll talk offline about if you want to do a promo code for Buy Black Podcast. I know certainly the folks out in the audience who will appreciate that if you do, and I'll make sure it gets shouted out in the show when I do everything for production.
Absolutely.
But before we get out of here tonight, I have to ask you that last question that we always ask on the Buy Black Podcast. What is your number one piece of advice for those of us out here in the Buy Black Podcast community?
Number one piece of advice, man, is keep God first. That's the number one thing, man. Without God, I am nothing. And talking with God, man, about what your vision is, and He will make it clear. And He will guide you. Just all you do is just talk to Him, and He'll make it clear for you, man. And He will put the right people in your life to make your dreams and aspirations come true. When I first started my business, that was one of the first things that I prayed about, man, just for God to put the right people in my life to where it would help me to grow and help my business, as well as help me networking and anything around that, those type of things to help my business. And it has happened. I mean, like we've been talking here about all the different things that the networking and the people I've met and the different opportunities that I've been blessed with. Even with this show here, being able to be on this show, Buy Black Podcast. I mean, He doesn't fail. So my number one thing is to tell anybody when it comes to this Buy Black community is keep God first.
I love it, man. Well, before I let you go, I've got to turn back to the audience real quick, and I got to leave you guys with something. This being episode number 30 of Buy Black Podcast, this is now the third person. I know I mentioned it before, but the third person that I'm bringing in front of you guys from my life, right? Folks that I grew up with, from the time that I was a kid all the way growing up, and we all went to the same high school, right? Now that's going to tell you one or two things. Either I happened to go to a phenomenal high school where every single person who graduated from there was one of the top-notch people in the world, and there's just no comparison. Now that's a possibility.
It is.
But
it's
what I really
one.
hope, it is, because it is a magnificent school, right? I mean, that the love of being a Tiger alumni is there.
Uh-huh.
But in reality, y'all, the fact of the matter is that in our community, in our Black community, we have so much talent. We have so much drive. We have so much passion. We have so much capability to go out and change the world that any one of us, any one of you out there in the audience, you can look to your left and to your right to people that you grew up with, and you can see people who are making a difference in the world, who are world class.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this show and you are out there and you're thinking, I don't have what it takes, right? This is nice to listen to. I'll support their businesses. I'd be nice to be an entrepreneur, but I don't have what it takes. These folks are just, man, they're above and beyond incredible. They are. And yet at the same time, they're not,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because we all have it in us to go out and create something incredible and change the world. So if I can look to my left and my right and I can see, you know, men and women who I grew up with and say, I need to put you in front of this entire audience because your story is incredible and your drive is incredible and your talent is incredible, then you can do the same thing. And if you feel like you're not one of those people, you absolutely are.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, man. If everybody just, man, everyone has a talent, whether they believe it or not. Everyone in this world has a talent, and some people have, and majority of people have more than one. And the thing is just honing that talent, man, and doing what you love, and turn it into something that can hopefully one day make you a lot of money, or help you to help other people. Because at the end of the day, man, that's what we're all doing, man. We're in the service department. You know, like we all want to make money, and we all want to have nice things, but at the same time, man, we're here to serve, and that's what I feel like that I'm doing here, and yourself, you're doing the same. Is we're providing a service for others.
Absolutely. Yep. And then the last thing, I can't get out of here without doing a tribute to the dads, man.
Okay.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but you know, 10 years ago when my dad passed, it was a shock. I was literally 2 weeks from flying to Iraq for my second deployment over there. I was out in California and I got a Red Cross message. He had a stroke, and I came home and he died 4 days later. But when we had his wake, it was a packed church. It was a Gain Street Baptist Church, and it was standing room only, and it was people that were out in the vestibule. I mean, it was my dad was he was an incredible man, right? And the city of Little Rock came out there, but we did the wake. And then I think one of the first places that I went to after we got done doing that wake is I went up to Central, because every time I go home, I make it a point to drive by Little Rock Central and see if I see a truck sitting outside the gym. Because if I do, I'm a stopping them going in. And your dad was the first person I went to after that wake, because I needed to go talk to another father after I just, you know, talked about losing my dad. And I told him, you know, the wake, I just left here, and he was like, oh, I was there. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, man. I sat down with your dad, I think maybe for an hour or two that day, and he told me about the relationship that he had and my father had that I had no idea about, all the way from the time that I was still in school playing ball. Your dad and my dad were kicking it. They was homeboys, and I never would have known. But I don't think we would be here the way that we are without those two men. And I have to say thank you to Coach Fitz for being another father in my life. And he's your dad, so I'll shut up and let you talk a little bit about that. But man, I thank him for being there for me, because he's an incredible person.
Yeah, man, I have to say, man, that it's a blessing to have such a man, to look up to him. Man, he's always been a person, not only just a man, but a person that I've always looked up to, and he's always had the right things to say, and he's always pushed me to be great. He's always given me great advice, and also allowed me to make the decision that I want to make. But one thing that I would have to say that just from watching him and seeing him, just the impact that he's had on a lot of different people's lives is the fact that, like you said, man, like him being a basketball coach, man, there's a lot that's entailed with doing that, and it's not an easy job. He just made it look easy.
Yeah, now that's true.
It's not an easy job at all. And being able to see the impact that my father has had on so many guys, man. I mean, I meet a lot of people, and not just men's basketball, but my father coached women's basketball for a while. And just to run into all these different people, man, and no one that I have came across has had anything negative to say about my father, unless it was something about them getting put out the basketball team because they weren't good enough. But as far as just him as an individual, man, like that, I would have to say, man, it's just a blessing to be able to come from that lineage of being a Fitzpatrick and having a father figure like I have, and being able to have someone to talk to and influence me, my younger brother. He's always been there. He's always put me in the best situations as far as helping me to expand my horizon, and I just thank him, man. He's definitely if I could just be half of what the type of man that he is, then I would be great. And I love him, and I thank him for everything that he's done for me and continue to do.
Awesome, man. Well, that is a great way for us to end the show. I appreciate you again having your patience with me, us finally connecting to get you out here.
It was all worth it, man. All worth it.
Absolutely. So that's it, y'all. We're gonna close it up tonight. We really appreciate y'all going on this journey with us, and episode 30 in the books.
Yes, sir.
We will catch y'all in the next show.
Indeed.
All right, y'all. That's it. A powerful episode 30 in the books. So excited to reconnect with Oliver on this episode. And the last thing I want to do before we get out of here is I want to remind you that Oliver is offering a 25% discount on his products exclusively for listeners of the Buy Black podcast. If you go to his website that he just shouted out, that's www.ndeedregime.bigcartel.com, and you put in the promo code BUYBLACKPOD. That promo code is BUYBLACKPOD. You do that and you'll get 25% off of your order of a custom bow tie. So let's go out there, let's support Oliver's business, and most importantly, if you know of anything going on in the fashion industry where he can get his products in front of more people, or he can get his name, his message, his brand, more exposure, go ahead and reach out to Oliver via those social networks, via that email that we were talking about, and get him connected, because that, as always, is exactly what this show is all about. Hey, thanks again, guys, for being out there, catching up with us for this episode. And next time, it will be episode number 31. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you. And I will catch you in the next show.